All right, so just as promised, this next segment is going to be focusing on the muscular development aspect of performing awesome CPR for your patient. Okay, so we know that CPR, as opposed to ventilation, per the current research guidelines, the CPR is what's going to save lives. And in order to perform great CPR, you need to have what's called mechanical advantage. You need to gain mechanical advantage over the victim. Okay, so listen to me before you put up the words of objection and reasons for why this can't take place. We're here to learn and understand the muscular development components, again, because we have two primary goals. One is to always do what's in the best interest of the patient, right? And that's high quality CPR to improve their outcome. And number two, make sure that everybody goes home safe and sound. All right? So that being the goal, we're committed to the goal, not attached to how we actually get there, right? So when you're doing CPR, one thing to keep in mind is that you need to get through several layers. We're going to talk about the patient first, several layers of their chest before you can actually squeeze the heart, right? So if this guy is laying down here, the little mannequin, your hands are on top of his chest, but the heart is going to be deep inside of here. And so in order to actually squeeze, based on the size of your patient, you have to get through layers of skin, layers of fat, body fluid. You have to get through muscle, you have to get through the sternum, you have to get through their lungs, through the air in their lungs, and then finally you reach the heart with that compression. That's a lot of stuff to actually push through in order to compress the heart and then allow for that chest to recoil, right? So this is going to be a small little guy, but think about the big size football player that you may have, or the other big people we know that Americans are getting bigger in size. You have to exert so much more force in order to perform great quality compressions. Well, when you're performing this, and I realize that working in a field environment, it's not always optimal, and we have a lot of obstacles which we have to overcome. I completely get it. I felt the same exact way when I was a flight nurse, and we didn't take people who were already in an arrest situation, but there were times when patients would arrest in the back of the helicopter, and we would have to perform CPR on them, and we were in harness belts with the helmet, you know, in this tiny little environment. So I understand that there's always going to be those obstacles and challenges that we as professionals have to overcome in order to best serve our patients. Okay, so the how-to we'll get to, but this is the muscular development component of CPR. Now, if we have optimal circumstances, all right, and this is how we can be practicing in the training environment, right? You train how you actually perform, is that when you start out, the higher the patient is, this is very common sense, the higher the patient is, the more likely it is for you to make this an exercise that's going to completely make your traps dominate the movement. So what I mean by that is that this guy is higher than me, or he's high, like pretty high according to how tall I am. When I go to push, you can see that my shoulders are coming up near my ears, and this is probably what you experience if a patient is on the cot or something like that. And when I'm pushing down, the movement is very exertional for me as the rescuer. And it's not because I'm a woman, but it's as soon as your shoulders go up, that's actually a sign that there's something the matter with that movement pattern that you're performing with that exercise. Unless you're doing shrugs, okay? But we're not doing shrugs here, we're doing CPR. So right now from the get-go, my shoulders are up. It becomes an injury risk for myself, and it also means that I'm not leveraging the entire force and strength of my body to give this dude great CPR. So I'm actually decreasing his survivability rate because he, from a positioning standpoint, he's not high enough, or he's not low enough. So if you can, and I don't know how you're going to make this work, this is what you guys do, right? You guys drive around toolboxes on wheels. You're like the solution finders. I'm the problem discoverer. All right, so if you can get up taller, now what's going to happen is that when you go to do CPR, it becomes a whole body movement. So my shoulders can stay down, my shoulder blades can remain retracted down and back, My core can be tight. You even tighten your glutes on this movement so that when you push now, it becomes a whole body movement, and it's so much more powerful, giving him better CPR, all right, to increase that blood flow and hopefully increase his chance of survivability, but also to keep you safe and injury-free from having neck strain or shoulder strain or throwing out your back because you're trying to overcome what is a simple positional change. All right, so that's what we have in terms of muscular development for CPR. As you know, we have a whole program which is actually looking at specific duties that you guys perform on the EMS and the fire side. And if this kind of information is valuable to you, have us come out. You know, we've got a team of coaches. We can do functional assessment screening to see where your movement patterns are helping or hindering you. And we love to do that and serve you. So hit us up on the website, fdmuscle.com. Stay safe out there, and we hope to see you soon.